malungil silsel moraro guil ade kukmor sabil lo mangedra el silsel kukmor ti al programa gidra Udesuall mergo gida mal ngal tangatre al tutaul ngaria terurubakal no sab edel lo mangedra ngaria imol Beleu ma imol adalgel baingak mergo etianga tirganga adra siobail adra Cemero commerce tirganga kuk obangel ngal ko host el mei nguk ngaria tukoil bodo sadre el ang mau era por seguir de mergo akmol ngitir temo ditil shokartir di era por seguir de buku umas agel ngaria malerul klor to tlel tukoil dilu para pluadre el sunday kote sel albul sel kodal mlangira blur arbodal ngel ngasal adal el mlat el kilipsi li mengim godir igel tukoil du para abluad maklangar kita dia katil kit ngidil blur abul adal sel sukuma kodal la mangai lo ya ka adal dingil mal ringi mal maril ngobrao del tukoy to guni kita adra ablur belaul mal makasay mergo ngai kal tuko asbe edel subok kedel potokol blur abul adam la mesa sekad makrar el angesi kia tleta marada sangariate al bolo o si malu beto mo mes mas ente kasal mo guru si tomal lak ngartir mergo nge tigu aiselo sa nga kamalo mes ay kan namo tokoral ko mes sa 2019 le kauntem lang ari telol mel adel mo quadratir dirga kuwa o urtel mo merel tu 20 ese kul me gumi ngir gidel adel belau tru merul telal ngar belau mal merin blo sengaria al sira erul telal adre bela tartira dimleng ilom quadring sel dungura statistics rablul ad en mal meringil makmont mo ko segid mo sakol mo tob drengiling mal kitar mo ngie leng ngallo pra gitel tingara kamel dira pekel sante rar adal mosmer igida di maral mo sai men segid tu akti unfortunately good to the tel uletel program in the ngiredel mal arda maradil ma arda iglesia ma arda qablementa moratoy de asbeda lagi tel mal ko korasyo vai maudud mesois maiga raka klade merko endi tianga sel mada aden malmi specialises kum dingil malarak ngarni meng seguida ta malmi toy tara mal kungil toy dilu para el al sunday sel aisel tilob del wasa presidente erguida agilingay malubang le pardon no o aigel tel malit gel tru matay malad el le apply seklisi lo presidente se el ngob takling ila tilaat no ngungil toy la omral wasar ada giling ngarnya ongerul te alla adal sebel magihisen mo kut maklak lang artire sel boy sel pardon ra ad malub ngera mungubta kuntil rala ingwala la en bulgo sengaria sel polo yaknim la katitel wasem la agut mok la gel bulsel mai gel omrun mo ngaria bla dalin mo ngil ma ul mo betu mal ngaga omdas waseng ngil toy reg ngaria terur tirgel el at el trimate me ardil ya trimate de arsal magmiardi la direk ko motmor rabe binata mendi ko magisem direk ngaringa arterul el governor le governor mang gukti ko ngwa gukti o ngasire nglo ase aram tukti governor as electrical ko bebirang rap ata government ko ade gukti am isiksik mendi ko lub tertil waise nding ngasire ngal to le sel pardona seklisi el president dingil tanga sabel irulise egalo on Brussels Christmas alu besel ko bebira ngare holiday es berulia president anytime ngidil ada sabel mo apply ya president ang the swear ada parole board o lo ser bulis ma obisa attorney general emargo bisa record ngi yo to dice gidil pardon order
may aigal record ang maklol to ko yala
o ngil
to ko do to ko
tede on ngidil talmalala digil seng felony igel maklo msisi talmalala dia ligel mi wa misdemeanor
am ko atrarat
Hindi ka, include na iki. Spell mong ta, adalo mo ko.
Okay.
Mo ko apek presidente pa alam na ruli.
I see.
Begitu matengel wa siya ta. Kumiyar mlangaram rigel o mesa Trump. Dart mo ko hala adab pardon ngiro na pon mereka. Ma Obama mendiregel wa siya, bisa pon mereka mo mangkalaba mo.
Pardon.
Oo, mang YC. Mang seguida ayang emergong se ongedel lungil to ko buktilo barela al sande kabelment gida amlo ab esel kabelment tru matal kabelment amlo mu loror.
I see.
Mang ab esel president amlo o mu ba ang dilo se sera mandeng. Actually sa Friday di sa mandeng amlo mu lo obis ang mu mo claureri. Gida la am salva se tilo bra radio press conference ki blaringi so nga delurior lo ay sa atletele ma diregel olbira rulaw amlo mu loror. Diregel mal ko ungil meng setial ngariam la klim klol bil lultob dra kotel sils mal ungil to boy
Malungil tameses matimo homo lem la.
may gelerul appointment ra amo minister of finance ra Caleb Udo Junior mamo minister infrastructure obi ang charles obi ang tilawd mom tawro relang dila sel kotel klol uldas molla البيل التبدي سل بيل مملوط ما الأم mga tara alla الجيرال تل دولا سين cross act tara toram digel ang seul mortel klol albul terrak tara kubit lang girabluan seguida atko imol tko ilgu tigal kumil tetel adra a business agartiang diregel mal giret mom saudar ngileng maklol tutelel yang maltel malla kay sargid ngara to biya gura albang ringi ngari segi del amoringa understand Irene lo aseng moringa hearing ngira ko tro
Why sera atru clock.
So disil momre ke mo te karubal start nga nilal atgi klol adel bongkal adlo ngarung akuk
Kaman masawla Ngirmang, man masawla rekla at lo ko mese oreng Udesuall el altutaw. O ang Ngirmang segid il amatrar esel government mal dul mo ra first week mal mering lorior MSS ra ready segid il la el direct el reintroduce ringia adra senate tial cross extension act tial la amrangia former president Tamir Mangsawa ki maurang asulel lingia kukomle submit ringil mora senate
Longit el momsang segid al sila ongay mulbuil.
Oo, etya nga maral to ko ang Ngirmang. Kidal mlemring lorol girel tial cross act ka mal matingil waseng ndimle lockdown na pela ra March 26 kita mo ul remurtal girel sel petition markong may olingitra adal wase me please saying pamobang kamamil adra sio bail mal private sector mal abur el alela kasko ki India ka tourist mongmal kadamre nga sulela former president Tamir Mangsaw niya man nemre et respond lela kalingilul rirang sit submit sel cross act legislation magukal kangyar at olbil ang dia ka cross act
Nadi di ba record mo bol platak lagi da ngana bibira at tigi short ame meritir ila sel to ngilul mongra kauma acan ngida pro ngim luror
era
sabadong enyarulia seluldas engulodur clean mora olbira gula
waise
etira statel luror ngia olbira gula ol bekel sils de club sera house paseringi engul masinete paseringi en mo emrugo president saingri adi mlo ikasi dimlaka imol lomolot al morngi madim lakal ngol do swer adrablu emrugo ko ngeringi odur clean mom saingri mong molla nguk ngari gel kuk migrel tol mondal dilu ngi maul mklol tutela la do sadr ngi la lut ma ngulot mir elanga
mal maral to ko Ngirmang ang cloud to tele el all time gida tial guk la moringa vaccine mar covid se gukureri at hospital el agida malo lingit lo se guk poda awa keisair gid guk poda rang satarira adra shobai mar adra community adra buhay tial el cross act amle intention ringi a private sector Miseral kanya sel 20 million in mga private sector. Ang maral to ko igel mal ko malmlet to ko ra or udal maun matmal gram lem ra re et agi submit ring April 27 a presidenta timlopol kuku keng akmal mre nga sula presidenta mlakamang to singel mo matat mang lemre adal move ringi masra labor olbil sing around ra May 2 almon mo tawro ringi other financial May 6 engam a starta ara adal mo siobaya mo submit ang clear al Ministry of Finance em o mo ultialurior across actal distribution mang oim laring ya rather style mo ta kalungin batingir at makuram lo oleo kersel toy di se kukmla mo mare kam el agi tetial kukma waya dalutulo mol makmo letial cross extension act ulmang lilutul kuksapbit niya former president mga saur sira December 22 2020 leng dire kalmle osengel wase askogi dirga kal polsab elmay ar adra shoba dirga ka polsab il makarang mang kadam ititiri ar adra balu mal tirgal gukti kaloro ra kabalment tumusong ren ndiak maun lilutul submit ringi makuk mare nga suli ra kukar adra senator elang tirgal PS nga ra 11th OEK al time el mlaw reintroduce ringi Melatam law reintroduce ringi kamamal adra shobaya papringa nga kama samskata awlam ter kamamal adra Palau Chamber of Commerce malolingit magimilu usul mo wasel niya public hearing magi merenga sulir el public hearing at Tial Cross Extension Act ngirmang moringir el algo tulurior Monday February 1st at 10 o'clock al moringir ang ara amayong sel conference room ra first floor
ila kalam ngel wasalla amat tialla al ngaringil 10-56 mulgit pitial programa madrasande
why say ilang madrasande tira ko ka mutul reintroduce ringi ilang kung dasong 11-5 tamlaw reintroduce ringi mguk PS
I see
oy maktingun met segi de bay kora ititirgal kalik sa nga kamalpol introduce themselves emerkong ito mo malangan niya kukarime okay so we kind of gave an overview, and so now I'll let you introduce yourself, and then I'll let Junior introduce himself, and then since we're together here as Palau Chamber of Commerce, representing the business community, then Ngirmang can pose his questions.
And some you can speak broken Palawan. It's okay. You've been here for over the years, so I expect you to speak Palawan. If I were in your country, I will speak English even broken.
Yeah. Okay. So here.
Ngito tao nga Sam Scott founder Sam Stores located down in Malaccal. Nga kadikera Beleu 40 plus years and it's been a pleasure being here. I'm really glad that Udesuall, my stepfather, had brought me here a long time ago and helped me out to start the business. And it's been an honor and a privilege to be a resident of Palau. And, all I can say is, I'm very concerned for the tourism industry for Palau, because we have to keep these businesses alive, and any assistance that the government of Palau can provide to the tourism industry is so much needed. Without that, I think most of us will just probably crumble and fall into the ground and never to exist again, because it won't be easy to open up a business once you've shut down. So anyway, let me turn the microphone over to Junior Ueki and Sulang.
Sulang Ngirmang, Irene co-host, Arogul other Beleu, Alsel Beleu Olkeriil. Pamsulal tunin el tutal uprameng sa our representation ra business community concern ra mamal other business ilgire la Beleu. Kamada di martial di masao da business. Agi masao le sel mal gotra rang mamar other Beleu, other Beleu. Agi makarange ogi sa aklangartir adalang aklir el teligibel ko kalmo hindi kalbagi sa total worry mas ngalagay kan sa el mamur elang makarang no hindi kal soda gay Makamama maldimel agi me tumrmadmiu. El kota gi otosia ongit ma klolongit. El mora government. Marugul other belau. Kasi mem namodia time el dakakro saltas. The stick to our aigel the swede edit maintain aigegi. Namogida del modong okl rogul abang le kayurengas. Maigel mongil morgid rogui. Agire del momotmok. Effort tra government kamamal business marugul other belau. Hindi kadil government ma business ta orut tel belau. Rogul dalong ok rogul at. Ruba kalmol mutrang alak. Asabe el gut maktital balwat. Me bado misra al sela balwat. Eda dang aigel identify aigel sabe elogisit. Ebo do uri regegi del lobak tareng madu ureng. Legi dal other bela kada non rablul adak masem kotel mudu armo. E kotel tarmo. Malets mem da tirkli say. Musula. O nga ka Francisco M. Ueki Jr. Ada plol logo nyo orang Orak Jr.
Oh, nyo okay.
Ngara se kada gal meeting se logo lang Clegal Francisco tirial guk matangal ka nyo mat Jr. Masaran dir se pagisit. Ikaw at bol marigatas. Ikaw got kamadel Francisco kada ngil.
Da mara ela kanyo kasam.
Girasam.
Ela kita kami amdeak namsa sel babilingi kami amdengel wase tila igi de sel mol goringi wase kada motma go mesa se kada magarang e gisit kita amdengel wase ablo ngariar adra government ngariar adra omenget ngariar adra iglesia ngariar adra shobay ngariar adra news magegi del kuk tengaringi agegi da gede smisi ekut mokro momsisi ada del ngar eunget del korol gide marbu ada amom sisi ma ablo ada mongin gidre langa sel dal bangan ngi wase gida dikam les kiorar ada mor olbiak lula ma mo president ma vice president ra edel buna na memong el atiram amrurang lile trika orur trablu ada mre del blu e gida mortilo ni do semtemru lalla emorgo tiri amalibel wasengara ludo da me sois ragabelmente gid el memsior gid emgra que ludo dal motob de wangate telel motob se angara el olbiagulo temnat tbdi segid la el momanga tati gid el la al madra sunday el momanga tringil mora ongetiul buil e gida mtengel wase segida ngaringia igel seralul tau tringil ngaringia amasra al sel ngaringia telmal al sel kami ada business kami al madengel wase business kami am no stop mlo dia audo del mesois mergo mlo dia kasih lom do dar admiu madire kami lom ring ra aklengar kami etia lo mol me kada mat dia ka aldu ulel indi kita madengel wase agabelmente kita am stop raskogi dia kalme
March 26.
O misal stop ay kal tirgagi selme tum alu orai temel me ay kal business me ura klanggoda a turisme osis paudo magme magmamel go ngara wa mgegrel motel ma yang adire kal moringi marbe klad belam kita lam dengel wase sel dengo geisair belau sel telila geisair belau aklanggoda a turisme se ago to klom meng el alorula la lo se da se magrar el ange kami ngrai ay kel experience kami nam satial la nombre que le wit el buda te ki la rabolor ngai gel ngia lagel katmagil ni dodar saul de suet el morar al mareder gida ada government gida ngol biagulau ma presidente murti alla msiru lil mongil te ai dia amok te kertial program tial programa amalisi ol tau to sel lamlte el momengel wase ngarangar ngira government gida maklisi lo otoba ul suet o das el mortil o sembru la igang kira te agil tol hearing el moringira mande amalung la ngur ngileng dimna ko ngil lo sem moringa akmal sa Facebook eli mang manung la ngur lo sit teman elat tira mama amrur selurela a mi mok kabelmenta democracy temet dar adarablu el motor ul suet especially gemul teruru wa ngol tede mem bodo mur segid mas magabong kada makarar ela kami tungu silta gota clolas ngarai kel ngaseu michael lotob el mora business kada kami tungu sil gota tora e tungu de su sel tora employment sel harar the klok ne wal the klok la talbu ile mo dia kaloror e gid ospertin mo da se dom do til leng umlada okyak ni me okyak e galmenta pertil directo mestri a check e tira dia kaloror mo gida matmal direct da hara tax mo galmenta matmal ma sho bar gida matmal dia kaudo del me un seurkit e tira gal ko kadadel المشيو الأورور مريض أدي مليلة بقى ملاو ده كم أوي كا دي شيء كده الثلاثة كم كده نيو كم أوي
أو أوبون junior هل تكو أي سنجر ما لو سه مترجل قوتي على تنجي تيال intention را cross act ما cross extension act أجيره لا tourism related businesses material gukti ak lo tinga also kung mal kukungil maral arwa construction ma ay kel gukmot also bail other kita government belang mga patoka to nors lo maski daw tal marula infrastructure tuguk ka lakas ko gi malangaringi matira di maral detail cross act tourism related businesses mga accommodation sarwa hotels motels arwa tour operators arwa some tours ma Blue Marlin, Cruise Control, marwa restaurant, dalwa Cafe Vita, Rock Island Cafe. So, junior kamar ko, to mo ulit ako amsad, wasang mara ko maluul, mag-flow to trail kay Gidal Cross Extension Act.
Question whether ang close to trail, di ako gering ili. Kung matangalik mo sa it's needed. Nga ka, kuramos kami at history. Nga ka sila to, tayo gidala, ako lumarak mo sa tologi sa business. Ma funding amin kamam al business, kamam omdodar at amam, magi-holder ti. Lubal wala al-stat, ada ka mo ngaralayan il mamalaw dodra. Nga kamla mo sa Klora Finance, may sa Ministry of Finance, I even talked to floor leader Senate, Kray Maryur, House Speaker. Team ulmistri uldas kasi membay lak mo rosa chikarada arada. Piti tri paska kay galudo mga kumdaw dati. Malolomol lowrior. Yung nga eungek al deduction na malubeng terrible medyo ay gang that's understandable. Arada ka understandable. Nga kulumol pay tax.
Nice.
Lakam durunga kung sa differ taxek. The deferment means at a certain point in time you have to pay that.
I see.
Maktiluk kasi argument talaga kami say maelang lakaw riyor magchiro all the way let's say 10 years. Durunga kung sa after 10 years ka mo pera at yal taksem lagim deferring. Where do I get the money to pay it? By dim durunga kung sa close. You're telling me exactly to close my business. Hindi, I'm not gonna do that. Leng moktegra business community makukulaswek ka makal low business. Roguil employees lang ewam a responsibility ka makamama we went as far as agim la askra tirgel non-locals. Almost 40 to 50% at til agib lang send at til marayta. Hindi bela Palawan sa we held them. Magtangara ewang elang etial guk pesel tokol masay unless ka closed hindi ka lolar WIO are locals. What are we really? What is the government really telling us business people?
To close?
Are you telling us to close?
Wow.
Because if you are, then goodbye to the Republic. Because
Goodbye to the Republic.
Sugum tiragil ada mamalay kaludo ramdikil nga so ramdikil. Eng mo dia kaloror. Lebo loror eng mo dia kalolay.
yes.
Mo tirgal ko kada rangot ablo. Igel tiragil sa ako sa ato ramdikil lang si oxymoron. Ngil ka utokol malo ta. Dia gisa makta ba. Dia ko ngay. Dia ko sa ara tiay the program agul di uringi ba serta programmer ma newspaper mak namlo balgona olbi agrula or sel ko stasel consider ti agid mak texel mortire ko tirti udang tri mak tiang mal simple to ngam da kamli etem langwa on sa a minister rulim a minister am la metel atun 3 times ak mulgorgi agidi mo shoto chendi mo sodela dingo di mungkin latwo da lam
amlorre del sel time di algo tomo ulbes Ngirmang sel delia junior alwaseng goodbye republic amal ra amolot akan kira lot ki letel democracy cook democracy disel the republic tial marika la actually republic the republic are built on the backs of businesses taadra shobal tiraw lumul au ul mang the republic of Palau mang kahalakuk peresamal Sam the question that he posed is the distribution of the cross act is critical. What are your thoughts about that?
Kau mo ay se samlo se ngabise telal adaman laringi telal adar belau telam lo dakaluror elal sil sa sumul mol mi kamora
ngani ptogara employees rangaka mo sendera home, no choice. And we gave options to our staff. Some dike, some marala. So about less than half swala marala. We Sam stores amongst
and you have many employees. How many employees?
At that time, we have close to 50, 60 employees.
Wow.
And so we sent about half, maybe 30, 25, 30 of them have gone home. No choice. Tikera Beleu and may, government Biskagara give them $400 a month to survive for the non-American and Palauans. It's a very difficult ability to sustain yourself, Tikera Beleu, or $400 a month.
Yeah.
So, arrest. Luckily, only a couple of, maybe even one or two of our staff are American. And so, sabel mo get WIOA. Arrest, adra oles, adra
Philippine.
Adra Philippine. Adra Norway, Europe, Germany, ngarang. Those are the people who are getting this cross funds, and it's just barely, not even really enough to pay the rent, kalam or food or everything. So it's more difficult at a time, but I'm pleading and hoping both the Senate. I know the House was very expeditious with passing the legislation extending the Cross Act, and honor to the House and House of Delegates and their ability to get this done very quickly before their term expired at the end of the year, or before January 20. But now that the Senate didn't act on it, and now is the time, hopefully I can already see that it's already been reintroduced. And so now's the time to hopefully expedite this, and then, give the ability for the problem with, these businesses just, nomidaka business and just sitting idle and more difficult to maintain a business, And I'm sure Junior and even all of us here in representing the tourism industry are having a difficult time, maintaining our business. I'm getting one or two staff for our maintenance, and that's it. Macro business before Sam's Tours, and so I hope that hopefully we can work with the government to for a distribution plan of these checks that not necessarily give the money directly to the businesses, but give the checks to the businesses in the employee's name, and allow the employers to distribute those funds to their employees in exchange for them to be working and fixing the business and maintaining the business and murulang arang,
I see. Oh,
you know. So hopefully that can happen, and that's definitely what we would like to see. And please understand, after January 31st, there's no more help coming from the government. No more of these PVA re-employment program. And that's not good. There's a lot of people, foreigners and Palauans, who are dependent on those funds for the employment program, as well as the WIOA, as well as the CROSS. So please, let's just keep it going. And if these businesses close down and shut their doors, they're not going to open back up.
I see.
To open back up your business, and okay, I would love to hire 100% Avra Beleu. Malungila, I say. But the problem is, naringi anafra Beleu o mora oriora some stores. Naringi, I would hope, but there isn't. The reality is, there just isn't enough Palauans to go around to the tourism industry to support the tourism industry.
Ela
you, Sam.
Engyo. Ela sugum kam do ay sa elang kukaw. Telara understand siya nga arrestan na. Telar Adam etela tirken mo dagloror arrestan na ka matur ka. Arrestan ng dirgangi mla masim ma atul makarakam tilgibes mo dira kukaw experience ka. Imdos elang makarangal sugum awdo egora business ka makararulil.
Okay, kamsulang yung Ngirmang ramalungil ger. Actually restaurant na nga ka-close. Gimal milas sa del buira after product closure. Milas sa sige del kullo ko rin sa local statement na nga. Mlamaraw sa udaw, almora non-locals, marada ka ba yung ask mas memgibor sa gili.
Ibo lang loro.
Oo. Taraw reason na gimle close sa restaurant na. Tour business na nga, ka-diving business tour agency na nga, agim nung okle at adu ko mamatir. Ungil management na nga, ka-direct feel the same way. To umral sa igil tiging nila statement na summer masay once agim close sa asmaram mo diakal sa mamutulog.
It'd be very expensive.
What we did di sustainer kama agimle sendra sa igil black talira ko agimle askara rogul nan locals kasi baka may yung ila chances kami oral lumil. You have a better chance there. COVID is unavoidable. I know Japan has COVID, but you have better help there. Lengaria SS ngaria igel ko government siya la all nga sira at siya ba.
I see.
Umar belan dak eligible right.
Yes.
Mar other always. Maktiluk mo sa mem the Voltarmud mlo I say. Magim lasen ko ma kimle employ about 60 gidi kluasam lang ara 15 mo 60.
60?
Wow. Yung 5 branches nga. Restaurant, diving, tour agency, gift shops. Even the gift shops nga magim close.
Telar tira na amlo mre.
Ang I would say 40.
40.
While 40 lang.
Yeah.
I mean, sige, Clora half of the percentage sa black clay offer. Sel tilira ko tulul. Agi trial keep Palawan sa mga bus company nga keep Palawan. Agi close our doors. Hindi nga rin services wala siwa nga rin required. Let's arwa kamaldi mga rang. Sel me agi open as maram gira lagi. Mal sugum tos perabas elber kama me agi willing mo. Al los pair terkama mura maldi ng umili ng rang. Mangway kita magyakaril tokol gi molabel. We make kita matengay kita other belaw. Sel albulin diakal sabem lo tuti arala.
Amoy
Air trakaw mul arala air
Why,
trakaw.
say man mara.
Lekom dasut kel albul makangulo ang yang atin
When
mora.
it's a Palawan custom,
Magi
you don't
agi-
charge really. You're at a
Agi
loss.
holder ar local sir kamam tiriawal ankol. Maselbor niya kat magil agi ko retir.
I see.
Kama madim lekip pertirgel ngara management del atras siapal. Di tadio masaurior. Eti ngilo 3/4 cut pay cut.
Wow, that's a big.
Mol sel le exhaust segi del funding kamam mortegi del cross act.
I see.
Mga kadirek kalming da do tir sel white set tili ra ko tulur. Nga kamnor tigal merredele tigal merredele olingi terti. Masemem mutia lugaw del bay maska kamil omaska.
The business owner.
Oo.
Yeah.
Omrelil chekal mora adin maldiungil. Ngidil benga. Hindi omrelil chekal mora ngel ad. Omrelil with the deductions. Di wa isel guru ringi guru rat chekara.
Oo.
Ngania MSA, ngania OSS, ngania ito. Komrulil katringil morsel kumiwa feel mosetegi dia ang equal to this 11 million. Hindi kungul maska mga ka-olger ada ka self payday ilwaya bekul sisra pre-COVID. Self payday temeblo ramadal officer nga kan mirat.
Like regular business. Yeah.
Kahalagugin. Melal sukumt misk mi audoder miltero kolom dodar adami. Misk mi lekon amdoder mi. Mlos bila sopar kamil di ko rol dim lamo simra.
Yeah, maintenance sa continue Ngirmang. Maintenance of boats.
Sabi rumul o tau tertil mo rora pe bir rauror. At least tel sopar kami el gina sopar kami alo bandire kal dim.
Anda kalel suku maudo da marang nga kan mora rogul employees nga. Dimla employees nga. Hindi ka ani nga kalo to tertil. Sabi nga kakmurtik masay okay. Lel suku ma kabalmenta ol to da chega mo require time sheet. Ya akmuru time sheet. Hindi sabi ka pura ada ka masay. Hindi ka uror elam mo lungul. Eksubi ka kabalmenta ko sa ada ka dimla kalo uror elam. Lendi ka sabi di memory rogo ira tayo every day.
Yeah.
Mata ka sabi di mana ta airtel.
I see.
Hindi
Adolo
sabi
tayo di ko ti air dia ka umralel hindi kultmok di bayas mo. Dia ka bulgul mo tolat ringi. What I'm saying is obos ka funding mag aklumog tulogi siya ko pali nga.
hindi mo hara tax ma SS magirogo.
Oh, hindi tiagi tel gul goringi. Al sugo makabalmenta amrul tilay del mo tokoy. En kabalmenta gire ruli sel chegal mor ada. Okay, mera siya junior Ueki. Basta lot to that chegar nga kay ngun memska. En already mla didak tratax. Didak tratax sele hindi wa isa pay chegar nga kal mor adak. Aktidak tra MSA, SS, ngarakkel, income tax, mga na. Masel over up tila, check ang nga niya balduk. Mangilo 500 tala, kami na sa ikarogul taxes, mga 200 tala.
I see.
Hindi na rulat siya kabalmental wise. So kung to umarak po sa nga niya, our employers mo, wadi kalper adrir, or true or ay galudaw, loro lat check.
Mal unclear our employees ringi.
Oo, din laliasen klela junior Ueki.
Lodengel wasn't a employer.
Hindi sumul to haladis to raro siya ka sa enroll ay kaludod maga. In sabi niyo sel kapos ka sel payroll alas payroll. Al sugum niya ka payroll tira niyo knarura. Ito stop ra. Walo tamal saw. Migirulis moringa ko mabal sa sugum niya maharar adami. Hindi mo kaya make sense like kita tira ka tira malar tira kita pang kita lo tira. May so da ko tira.
Kad bere sam makukul nga niya TLL insert na lo si Sulger. Aktiyo ay sa buwal wasay. So kung mga ringi aker kami kung maldi ko ra pala waive ra 4885350. Letiam mal ko ra ngil Udesuall to koy. So Sam, the question he posed was, if the government's distribution plan would be this way where they give the checks to the employees but they give it to the business owner, what are your thoughts?
I personally, Ngirmang, but
You can say in English.
I personally believe that that's a fantastic idea and a better way to least help the businesses, not with these funds. These funds will go directly to the employees. These funds, but ideally, these employees, they're getting bored, and then 9 months and yakaturas trabaho. And
But can you utilize them?
yeah, and utilize your staff to run around your tour company.
What kind of work would you give them?
Matok. I've got stuff that are rusting. I don't know the word for rust, but but there's a lot of work. The boats, Junior. I heard you talking earlier. Matok maintenance ra
Sabihin mo na
And they are, some of them are already, $400 is not very much. So, and even the WIOA funds, we're starting out low, and then each time getting smaller and smaller. And I'm not sure what was going on there with the WIOA. And, I'm not, it's my staff getting those funds, not me. But ultimately, even, and I know this is a U.S. funded program with WIOA, but it would be really nice if, if the tour companies could work in even accommodations or restaurants, whoever has laid off or part-time staff that you've been working full-time and then you had to go part-time. And I know PPR has done that. A lot of businesses have done that. And ultimately, if we could just work out a way that even the and I don't know how controversy this is, and I read they download over the U.S. and it's and even they're very strict. Kaorior, WIOA.
Why?
Yeah.
I
Why
don't know.
not? It doesn't make sense.
Well, I think it's an unemployment program, right?
Yeah.
So I'm
I
not
don't
sure.
think the Americans will come after us and demand. You think? You're American.
I don't know. I don't know how this.
Yeah,
I know it's a very
how can-
controversial subject here with the WIOA funds, but ultimately, those checks, should be giving to the employer to be not for the. Again, I just want to emphasize, the employer is not going to spend those money. Those checks are in the names of their staff. So ultimately, those checks and the cross checks should go to the employer for distribution to their employees in exchange for work
Yes.
received.
Yes.
I think that's just a fair and equal thing that helps the businesses to keep their business going and upkeep or maintenance or whatever. There's jobs that are around that are able to keep these employees that are just sitting around and not really doing much. Give them some purpose. Give them something in life that they know they can look forward to until such time that tourism is coming back to Beleu. And I know that's going to happen. The vaccination program is just amazing. And even I got my vaccination. And I'll get my second shot on February 18. And I feel very obliged and thankful and happy that the government of Palau was able to work with, I guess, the United States for these vaccinations to come into Palau. So ultimately, there's light at the end of the tunnel. We can kind of see that now. Even President Whips, wants to allow for some safe corridor tourism.
Yes.
I think
With Taiwan.
that's a fantastic idea. I know it's a very touchy, even that's a very controversial subject because what if, what if nga wana alter mera vela nga COVID and then, it's not even really funny. It's a big...
Especially kung makloro ba.
I know you're older than me.
So,
but it's definitely a concern. But ultimately, the businesses need to help get their staff kind of re-employed under the business.
To be prepared.
Be prepared, let's prepare ourselves.
I think if if in this new law or this extension, make that requirement. They pay and they work, whether it's WIOA or a cross-act fund. Require them to work instead of require them not to work. It's opposite. I just, I said you have to be stupid. I mean, it doesn't make sense. How can you make a law like that? For this month, just look how much money has been paid to people not to work. Millions of dollars. So let's go to the loan part of this thing. They gave 1.5 million to the development bank to give to loan for business, and I think even Irene here got some.
I'm still trying.
Yeah, and there are over 100 or maybe several hundred business applied, and the money runs out. Now here comes Minister of Finance before he leaves office. There's $11 million left. Why
Comes
not?
up.
Yeah, why? He still can release maybe 5 million out of that to the development bank to start loaning on Monday. I think they still can do it until Sunday, but I just do not understand why. Because it's going to help a lot of business. I know small business. I know one restaurant that was able to get it to repair. And then start, and it's doing well. I mean, under the circumstances, but it just doesn't make how much money. If you were to ask your congressmen or senators on Monday, how much money out of this $11 million to give to the development bank so they can continue with this, because it's really a good loan process.
It is.
Yeah, I mean it's
like
just
0%
For 2 years.
For 2 years.
Oh, you have a caller?
no.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Okay, go ahead, please.
No. Talk to the mic.
Oh.
You talk far.
Okay, Greg, before I give the mic to Sam, I think Ngirmang's idea about giving the money for the loan program out of that 11 million is a good idea. Ngungil luldaswa. So far, we've talked about our employees. Mang kada understanding Ngirmang makwadi recap pa Kel Blaldo Jr. Sam alwase mal expensive turnover cost. Mal expensive repatriation. Adol durokrar adat the expected tiral mutal me mal expensive our business owners. Mang the replace our skilled workers hindi mal expensive. May lakatuk more say git yung loan mang aktiral mal di mo obeng kemengin mang lwase ay gal blaldo tiral terung lwase maralungil to ko also kumar our employees ang maudo den giril low reor giril ditang ok lese ako kar atara siobay o mara work ethic al gira tar adal il have a purpose why selul ko yasam kami gisra tu time badingen wase o di molat ra at least ang nga urere hindi ka ditang maudo de dita
Klub to ko. Grab mo do other laba. Auto ta complemente hindi ka low reor. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Oh, mela sa igidol ko clone program wase langaw daw dun sa NDBP. Edo junior was indirekal maldir ka try. Ko tolingit dun sa NDBP polo reol lobang terir other survival malmam tingel ngwa siya singer pela wase ngarang situation the business community ela. Even though tial cross tourism related businesses, everything in Palau is affected by tourism. Lendital tourism, tiaya commerce, Beleu. Nguul mang Beleu sab ilm lamo, kada namo ansing ergit lwase toling itaw tratonors ra Taiwan masyabal mamrigel mike letam lamo matengel wase Palau environment ringi pristine paradise ngilar adaringi budal bulu le partling tourism amle rulin mo I say. I will give the mic to you, Sam, and then Junior, after he gives his thoughts about the loan program for business, who come share your thoughts.
Okay, well, first of all, I just want to thank the National Development Bank of Palau for the tremendous support that they've given to Sam's Tours. If it wasn't for the National Development Bank and their financial support of the loans that we've taken from the National Development Bank, we would not be in existence right now. And, since April of last year, if it wasn't for those funds, nobody has tours, and that's a sad thing. We employ a lot of Palauans, we employ a lot of other people, and the contribution to the economy for taxes and everything else has been quite substantial until last year. So ultimately, the loan program that the National Development Bank, and, of course, there's some of these cross funds, but only they'll give a little bit of that went to the National Development Bank, when ultimately, I don't know how, or, but these businesses need those funds to help them stay alive. And it's important that the National Development Bank even support other tourism businesses. Of course, majority of the tour operators in Palau are owned by Palauans. I think there might be one exception. I think that's Impact Tours, but the rest of them are owned by Palauans. And but ultimately, these funds are needed to keep these businesses alive. So when the time comes that the tourism industry starts to come back alive, and they can at least have something to open up their business and pay their bills and so ultimately that's definitely how I feel. The National Development Bank, if it wasn't for that, like I said, we'd be in trouble, and hopefully they can get more funding to help the tourism industry survive.
Thank you, Sam. It's the same for me, Junior. I think we have a caller, so can we take the caller before you share your thoughts?
Yes.
Your thoughts on the loan, the loan part of the Cross Act.
Yeah, the loan thing. One of my businesses, the restaurant, which is closed today, cut the loan. I tried my bus company to get a loan, but I'm still working on that. They've put so many stuff that I had to come up with, like resolutions and all that. So if there's a way to simplify, this is a much needed help. So to put out a loan is a very good idea. It's a fantastic idea. But put a loan there and make the road to that loan simplified. Don't put a loan there it's like you're hanging a bait, and then when somebody's catching for it, you pull it up. It's like
But that's irrelevant now because there's no money. So my question to you is, how much money? We have 11 million. They put out 1.5 million. How much money you think they should give to the development bank for this project?
put the entire $11 million there,
And let people
make
learn
it simplified for us businesses to apply for it.
To apply, and so then we can control the operations and the employees.
What about the employees?
Yeah.
You give all those to the National Development Bank, and what about the employees and their checks and their cross funds?
And isn't this the same money that's going to be distributed to us to pay our employees?
Yeah. So
Isn't that what we need?
No, but if we give it to the development bank, there's nothing for the employees. So
okay.
This is available now. Of course, they can increase it.
Okay.
I mean, you know that the President Mangsao has reported before he left office that we have over $300 million in Palau investment in U.S. And last year it came down to like 244 million. Now it's up. It's over 300 million. Why don't you just get like 20 million or 50 million from that and put it into this program? I mean, if you have your own money, your investment.
Well, the U.S. People, the residents there are lucky they can use our money to buy their houses.
So,
If that's the case, then okay, I'll put the 6 million in the bank, NDBP, leave the 5 million for the payment of employees. I think that's going to be a fair
good.
distribution.
So if the congressmen are listening, they said, "Oh, you recommend that." So at least,
Yes.
At least we're talking business now.
Yeah. But
And,
of course, the employees, like you, Sam and Junior said, when they give the money to the employees, it's in the names. The checks are in their names minus taxes. But give it to the employers, so the employers, the business owners, can manage the work that needs to be done, and give the checks in exchange for work.
Yes, and if the government wants, requires us to make a timesheet or whatever, and they pay them against their time, then we'll do that. We'll gladly do that. What we're asking is, give us the money, type them out to our employees' names, give it to us employers, so on a payday, they'll be doing the same thing they've been doing all these years. They'll come knocking on the door, or they walk into my office, I need my check today. Or in some instances, my employees ask for advance because they need it for custom, they need it for something else. So, and Kamlo mentioned tourism is a backbone of our economy. True. Direct sokal mo do Olkeriil wase aigal businesses Beleu most ringa employer other Beleu. Employer other Beleu. Tiril other Beleu ngania family ngania arir ngania rangaligir extension or Telkom Valley. Mga Telkom Valley concern sa igi. Ngal ada sa salary ringi el alsil silang payday. Hindi nga niya igil tayo may niya make masay boss akmal abulang eh maralog spell at hindi nga kamatukong kung swede sa igi mas kama may galudo kumal mas kama mar business agi kan tinul murula ila igi el al sales hindi kal sabi kal mo swede ada kal tukko den gini akluguk len plain din hindi ka unutan kama ma zero salary open arogoy. Let's remember this. Shall reopen our borders, bubble tourism or whatever tourism we start with. We start from zero. Hindi ka start at 2%, 1% or 15%. We're starting from zero. All businesses across the board are starting from zero. We can talk all day about reopening our borders. Hindi lang prepare ourselves, prepare a business to tackle the opening. I mean, what's the use of that?
Kaya maral mo raw lubongan mo kami baby lara de gisal was ngam de sede ko mo consider audo del morara direct kitelo mesram rigel ma Europe ma tobla bul ada ngania direct ludo del morara ngal mal mora da hedra household mora family malu mora individual el sugum ngaringi abdu del lat madre el million ngaram rigel ngaria ngara savings lung through el million ngaria abtol selo mas aigel ludo ngaringi el alsils ngaram de al sebe de ngul de kertel $11 million se ko to da ibi ko kla $200 mora individual other Beleu Rabekil po so many months malubeng mura family kita di ngari akmed ngara ewal telan madre family sa Beleu mura ay imolong alak mote mungira klangarti menela se tigil ko ngarba income retira dia kali ngarba tigil nga wa me imtelal mura dia kalo lan di rest kita puno dag indi kisal was dag sel ko ngaraw de suyo girel sa igid mo comments ngi sel labo ngati ako rulia business mendire kan mo
Ngirmang's question is he wants to understand why the government doesn't just give, like the U.S., give money to the household, head of household or family to help them with living expenses. So he wants to know our thoughts. I will share my thought in Palawan and let you, yeah. Ngirmang, tila, ngungil lulda, swinti nga kakukaw, the swe kawase. Aureor akkora obengel ngal taitorio sel tul wasen de alsoala hand out let atokuk tungu nga ke Ngirmang akwase ngire la at ngaringa exchange rangi di ludo el moringi mal family mal ngal ma alori ke malorula ko him ngire ngaringa work ethic ngaringi sel tokoy aureor involve rarokul tatung ngudaw dal morarat lenti kadita dang okl el rep tay kaludaw darayang at almerio leng aktire kal malo marar sel guk ngara bibilial waseng ngirel mo kasipa isnget ngirel mo kasip isnget mo malar sel garra kadanget mang sige ta kukul to sweke. And my thoughts were you have to sweat for the money. And so his idea is good, but for me, I feel like every person in Palau who gets money must have a purpose to work for that money or do something small or whatever, not just sit and get free money. And so that's my food for thought, and then you can share what you think.
Well, I kind of shared that already. I mean, ultimately, we have to, I don't know if you're referring to the checks going to the business instead of to the employees. And then...
no, my thing is that we all suffer, especially those with low income. So again, we have like certain income to either individual, Palawan, we're only like maybe 8,000 those over 18, or to its family, to assist them. So that if we want, make it only spend it for food, for good food. There's a lot of people in Palau getting hungry. I mean, of course, we don't want to say it because we're proud to say it, but I think this is not like free money. And let's face it, everybody is affected with this thing. This has never happened in history. So it's not normal time. That's why when you think of solution of a problem, you have to think it's not a normal time. This will never come again, maybe. So while we're here, let's do it. Because if you put money in the community, because they're gonna spend it.
They will.
They will spend it, especially groceries, stuff like that. This also, make the economy vibrant again. So I mean, it's not that idea of free money. It's not free money, and this is a lot of people suffer. If you don't make sure they don't pay Budweiser or they don't buy beer or they don't buy marijuana, but you can put it in a coupon, so they have to go and redeem by getting good food. I mean that's the idea. I said, is that you don't want to. People do not want to feel that government is feeding them, give them free food. But we all know that, I mean, even us, we have little income, but we're surviving also, day to day. So what's your idea?
No, I think the start out of the Cross Act is a handout. Everybody left their jobs, went home, and received checks. That's a handout.
Yeah.
A handout is not when somebody is suffering. He doesn't have bills. He doesn't have money to pay electricity. He doesn't have something to feed his kids with. He cannot do anything. You give him $100. That's not a handout. That's a help. This person has gone through everything, and he's stuck at that level. Why? We can say it's his fault he was Masai and all that. No, let's think beyond that. How do we help? And to me, that is not a handout. So I agree with Ngirmang. Sabi sugum kada more sige, government employees are all working. They're receiving a check every 2 weeks. Leave them out of that. Leave them out. No. If you're going to give the money directly to a household, if you're the household person, and you work in the government, you're receiving a 2-week salary every 2 weeks. We do not give you the $200 or $500 if we decide on giving out money.
Okay.
But other magit, a person who's retired, he's doing tapioca, taro, and trying to survive, and then COVID came in. It stepped on him. I think it buried him in his taro pots.
Yeah.
So he's trying to climb out. That's the
Yeah.
person you help.
Yeah.
You give the
Oh,
money
I-
to.
Oh, I
You
see.
extend the ropes and
Oh.
climb out.
Everybody
Yeah.
who's in the government or who has a job, I mean, you can do a survey. It's very easy. Then maybe we can update our survey. But if we are going to give out money, let's think about those people first.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
And
too.
ang nga malumrak pa siya, unmaklo, before they started distributing these checks, I went to these officials and begged them to give it to the employer. This is the basic idea.
Yeah.
And I truly believe that what they did in the first cross act was a handout. I had locals coming to me and trying to get that cross acting, but when I went there, they said it's not for locals, and then I have to wait for WIOA. So I told them, but they came to request me to be laid off, so they can be eligible to get the money at the
Free money.
So that's handout.
yes.
That's American handout. Sam, that's your
what a
government
handout is all
to
about.
us.
If you're doing something to a person who just wants to lay down at home, smoke a joint, no, that's not.
Okay,
No, what I'm saying is, nga ka omesra tial legot el handout, tial legot el cross act, el handout.
Why say?
And then let's not cry over spilled milk.
Why
It's
say?
been done, it's over with. Now, Gidl as a business community, we've already seen the effects, the impacts on our daily lives. And we are kita nga frontline help pra community. Le employees rigid a community. Manggida del mom sisi gida del takol the sweat. Gida del put our heads together. Sige dem the opening statement na. En gida kadamura ako a Congress labirtir.
I see.
Hindi kal sabi del di mong el duk masendia kari lang. E the med duk mas shoot man. Tiga nga kal sabi del ulo lobantri. No. Tiga nga direct ketial Beleu. They're feeling the impact too. Kita mula sa tiga malusuga $50,000 whether we like it or not.
Congress.
Okay, fine. But are we just going to sit down and cry about it? No. We're going to go there and even also mo ginadal ask a tick was, man, please lower a salary kami to help the community. I am sure, I'm very sure, 100% sure that they can do that.
Absolutely.
It just takes us at sel da albay kita ginadal mo da albay. They have a job to do. They're doing it by the books. We have a job to do. We do it by our books. How are we going to merge those? Ngire del mura Congress makadalabirtir. No, see, of course, when we lobby them, they're going to have response to us. But we have to be strong. Okay, yes, we understand that. But what about this? We have to have that sit down as a community, as leaders. Like business community, we are leaders. We have to be part of the leadership. We have to be part of all the communication, the conferences. I hope that everybody's hearing this, listening to this.
Ito
So
umura
they-
Monday.
Yes.
Umura Monday.
Moria public hearing na Monday.
So,
So,
tiri mo.
Malboring nga kora ondi bilang nga clear kora concerning ra aklangar ra other way law.
Why say?
Kuling it magi bom partnering.
Why say?
Magi
Gaman
ko
masaw
magi mo la
ulit
para
yun.
ugul, so we don't have all the solutions. Hindi nga nga opinions mo the swam sa mam albodo si albodo da do dokta and sabi without tigel unnecessary.
Why
Eh
say?
kita tang tisel
Mamatigang solutions. Why say?
Ya,
Gaman
potobal
masaw.
imol bulu engiye del ta.
Why
I
say?
see.
Community mga parliamentary git ekadamaral bulu ero.
Kamal Masawla Jr. Ang nga caller mang ang korahmal smi at the show. Sam, it's getting good. So I think we have somebody who has a question from the public.
All right.
Okay.
Ali caller ka nga ra air.
Mala malungit tutan mo ka Ngirmang kau ma Irene ma Sam ma Nyo so kalau di mom sa dai kaludo gra kabel metal lo sir adal affected tektora ko bi nga karung tia ludo da agire del malu bendi de swek na ba yung ila dong sang akombali is a form of loan el mokte kamo lo speringi lo employer adri while and dia kauror but the employer adri and din giril mulamul maigel kombali lo batel do government lo do adri until such time will return economy return na tourism seigi de ludo del newal form ralon tirgel kombali al mut rehire tirgel adri ese ludo turn into a grant this kuma kombali ang utialudo de ondodra adri de sel volungi la egan amin de kalhara adri ese girel mo form loan so that company should be paying it back to the government. Then it doesn't make sense hadi ondodra ade di milil. That's just my thought. Number 2, tirgai dulu adalu sukay galudo de angara loro. Kida mengelo sia aigal yoterar wadial lol tagagal ma supply sirgiden mevela among ani isuringi rangar badal time mole bay bla bolungil dom do tiral adam malaga ludo de monday 13 mo malala makali lablur bela future aigal state bolsi arbekal governors el asana utum el mora government tirai de malaudo government true egegi del gombali doringi also eleman tirim bololal makalelab belar future ay gadi udas maktisere kamang malegong
Amo malal maray mali.
Kamaral Masawla caller, kamaral di listen.
Maral, ay.
Lungi raw do swam, mal sayang arang Ngirmang. Sam, basically the caller is with us encouraging the government to give the money, the Cross-Act extension funds to the businesses, to the business owners, so they can continue to have their employees get prepared, prepare their businesses for in case the reopening of tourism. And then if the tourism reopens and the business really continues to hire back employees who were not able to work, then the loan can turn into a grant. But if the businesses use their money for that but don't continue to operate, then it's really should be a loan. So there should be terms of the loan that they give to us to give the businesses an incentive. So he mentioned also that while we're waiting for tourism to open, there's a lot of land and agriculture, and the businesses can also use their people to do farming and do other things. Sure. And so that's basically what he said. And you can go ahead and give your thoughts on that, and Junior can share after you about the lands too.
All right. Well, thank you for the caller, and ultimately, I couldn't agree with him more. I've as we continue into this crisis of COVID, even Sam's Tours, my family-owned business, is becoming deeper and deeper into debt, and it's not going to be easy to get out of this. But we will survive. I feel that deep inside me, and ultimately, these funds from the government definitely have been a big help. No question. The Cross Act, even the U.S. funds that have come in from WIOA have been a huge help to my employees. And I'm just thankful and thank God that, these funds were made available. And no question, these funds need to continue. But ultimately, as the caller identified, these funds also should be made available to the businesses to help them reopen or get back to where they need to be from the dilapidation of their businesses that are occurring from. I just look around even Sam's stores, and it's we do our best to maintain, but there's just a lot more that could be done ultimately. And definitely I have, there needs to be responsibility for sure with these funds, that they do get paid back. And ultimately, if the business fails, will the business have the ability to pay those funds back? I kind of doubt it. Ultimately it's just going to have to be a write-off for the government. But for sure these funds, more of these funds need to be made available to help the business, especially the tourism business, the backbone of Palau's economy. No question. Everybody says, it's the bread and butter. It's the backbone. It's the, and it truly is. Without tourism in Palau, there really is no economy. There isn't. There's construction, and, we're lucky we have the construction, but a lot of the construction is occurring because of tourism. So, I just hope to see, the tourism industry come back strong, with quality tourism. Quality versus quantity. We got to keep this in mind. We don't want to get back to where we were before COVID with a huge amount of mass tourism. That's something that Palau doesn't have the ability to handle, and it doesn't really benefit the economy very well. Everybody knows that. So I would hope to see, quality tourism continue and keep these businesses alive that have contributed to the economy. The ones that haven't contributed, beere. We don't need to worry about them. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam. We have another caller, Junior, so...
Ali caller nga ra air.
Ali malimit 2000 Morca Lorenz, ma radio station radio rasatoy, makau emoses ma Irene ma tigel kerul elelu ma dalagel. Malme so angel last caller enkora ulki sak. Le article senator sera rurt tirurt mo se agim rumurt en mamru la seres. Ma oiga gil toy. Al agiru sum como adu seguir ngoirang como quadilira mo se ilumetra senator ngoiral time. Morgi sirti sira rur tokot mo segim rula seres me al time teme la seres ma boloru la seres ngaral ses saikal boloru a fruit fly sangarngi a frutal maramang a fruit fly sangarngi ma bodu la seres kada amam ko dira fruit fly sa era podong itau do del mormula igal podosong ringil seres kan mormula igal seres ke ngare a utul open gira sa sela talat atemel tang alu ngare ut mara complement tilmo sebelo ses ngi dira Why say, kami am sa drasiko bay malungil mo dia kasiko par kami unguk mo mkitra siko par kami mar adro kamam ko bu el dia mo siko bay ato mesa vias tong na angara vira ara lakal werni tia covid-19 nya ngaria angari me mbai jiril angra sangari me mo mkitra sangari me limetre mkitra angari me lem mkitra kamam no mar mkitra adro trau mguktil why say ara lakal angari me ara lakal lagi dire glebu tas lagi di gracias pon mo klaro a fruit flies magukti do nga pak nga dia fruit flies nga ingau kai di rod rebela di yekla ma ser se mo mururi ni ker seguida ker ngatemel tanga po ururi ke mo tuga atmi adlo utum adangare ut mara kapalmental open liris ani di la mo murula ser open block ora homestead nga playlist esperase di ke gida ko Udesuall que tiene, me llama como la atención a olvidar a dan presidente tan, muy legal para zoom, te queda a el obis el pagar a dingri el saco se albulan ari que aquí de plan sábado me mutra el bulgoy, bolwaise como el sulang, bolwaise. Thank you migan.
Mal masaul hindi nga kulta atrases ng arte mak nga to ko el abosao abosao de mora Irene de lo ngay material teruro ruba kada maraw lo mal masao mal til almol korea mal toral loms alakal mada fruit flies mo bes rases gladi babia sa el morgi kada maraw lo bongol mang khaledik pusmit yang mo mesengil was sel mo mesay kagidil eludo dra covid el balol to lutul ma olgisengi kami al amura kotulurero komura hearing ra 10 o'clock ra tial across the street ngara sab edel kuk mo das yung ngila diregel borngia audo del motor del girel tial rala dengi maral masibul do meselan mong mas alubur raguk mortirgel kuk mabur ma dia sa girel siobay alubeng aku kudodra aku bita dia aku timura unemployment maigal to na siobay dia kalbora ara lungaseo rala aral madengi matara uldaso se maguk kada attacks dal haraw se de guk monia way attacks malu be ko mangtin mora uktelal buil malu telal raka kam ngaraw da sul kini tiak mo
Sulang Ngirmang tilan malungil ger. Adi akmal di swakal di quickly di touch rengel first caller. Leng akmle hope masik moriate alel da sada utuma. Yang adra public land ray meliga. Mat at sel bayon tigil kutubdile gora leadership kami adra leaders real time. Memrula la orem simplifier tial expedition ra igal utuma el molu tul mera state. مقامام الستيت ضصادة بمهل برقمام السماضة باوندريز مهل برقمام السماضة من دايرة أوتمرا أغا ناشيونال مع ستيت فيجل إن يجل personal property يجي يقعد بطات ندي مبرولا يجي أغوت بعض اسمه أقلا يقال أوتم مقامام الأضرا يمريجي بو مريق التيال يجل التمام من السبب أمام الكمورة تمام الكموسيت يجي ذا سرسيب تجي ذا سبب إمو سرسريني au era da bora wa fruit place bangarang engira del masuk makla utum okay es el Ngirmang Ngirmang nga umrak bas seguir el blada de li al sugum qadam amro saudo del boring gayid el adel dia qarqarnger el al time ndi rely ra magit منسب إلو موس يقدم لارمول الأولى بلول لارمول الأولى ضاو بانيقلم ما فيش رمينا ديال سبيل دي ليميت ذا على لارني ما السوق مقدم أمره سودو درو سودو المرتير جيد المرالو سبيرني whatever amount أقبل من تدي سايدرني اتيا قدري مساعد قصة across act الأولى Republic of Palau من سبب الموضوع التغير على السيل it has to take the Congress الموضوع على language على السيل redirecting المرة يجي لونتي ويسي علاقة سيجي الأولى كونغرس مسنديا across act سيم لقط across act تملي يجي كنتل لاغويس أوكي مدر اللي الله الموضوع إيسي سي عار أروي الإمامي ما كمان ما بيجي موليني تقبسي مرليا يقام ما ويلين المو دون أكلو بنجميو يجي بس كمية تطشر كمان ما السوق من قطيعة بيبي تطشر كمان ما ده على تطلل إذا قال أمويد ندي مرين سبيبيل إمغالو تورا لا ليلا تايم for so long أو إرال تودا لا أو إرال بسال لا تا إيميل مريجي مسي كم بس كمان ما تطشر كمان ما business community I was doing that for so long Hindi kadi molta lalto dabil kora orak mo oiwi kora mo filk mo sengaring ya igelon mam sili sa balse waktim lon mo kora mam lam marataro mo dia ma dia ko hindi ako ndak malolong ito kami our leaders it's time el algo vida tia blessing ling ngolda kargir gire del decide el motaro Nyakal sa pamilik mo sa kama government, magi government, kama magi mo business, magi business. Ala ka po datang, hindi ka role electoral balloon mas mo. Thank you.
Thank you, Junior. So Sam, basically, Ngirmang touched on what are our thoughts about the distribution of this Cross-Extension Act. So what Junior has stated basically is it's in the hands of the Congress now. They really can be specific and put things into this Cross-Extension Act that will help going forward, because the first one is already finished. So now, instead of waiting for the finance to distribute, they put into the law, whether Ngirmang mentioned the PPUC, electrical bills, and they can be very specific and make this law clean cut going forward. whether it's business owners, paying their employees, business owners, electricity, living expenses, or really be specific. And he also mentioned that we have been sending our comments. As you know, they usually ask us for our comments, so we email. But if they don't hear us, it doesn't help. So we're going to have a public hearing, but we, along with him, are asking that if they need us to sit at the table and help them figure out the business side of distribution, we're willing. So what are your thoughts?
No, I think that
last.
Yeah.
Because we're coming to
Okay,
close.
yeah. Well, I totally agree with that. I mean, it would be nice to just have some input on how the distribution of the cross funds are allowed. It's been, like I said, we're very grateful that we've had this opportunity from the government. I think other parts of Micronesia have not had that ability, especially other FSM and marshals. But if we could be involved in how this new, if the cross funds get passed in the government and signed into law by the president, then ultimately, if we could be at least somewhat involved in, or have some suggestions from the Chamber of Commerce on how these funds could be properly distributed and that will help the businesses, then by all means allow us to have comments like that. And of course, we want to see it continue. We don't want to exclude the foreigners, because I think that for businesses to send them home, we don't have the funds. It's expensive, and we really doesn't, we don't have the funds, and we could send all the foreigners home, except me.
Except you,
Anyway, but ultimately, I would love to just have some ability, or from the Chamber of Commerce, to have some input towards the distribution system of how the next Cross Act funds will be going. That would be awesome.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
close nyo de korkaula se okmo agot luro ratru klo mo do okama la senet sel committee mai engraigel to il bom durtir el wasel kire la ngeseul kire la kagi de plata tu ral mo business mos pilosis persella boloruni mes pilosis ya pong langari atla maskal angra 5 minutes mo 10 minutes kat pas ka erulbong samurai se kikido se raigel 1 to 3 bom eskatilo set bo osis betalla.
Okay. Malam sulang Ngirmang. Sel baskak sa idil te al ako tulontik. Kasi bokarang may Udesuall remeng sa igel gimolokoy. Agi molokoy agi feel ring na vehicle sales. Agi feel sel ring, agi feel sel albu, agi feel sel as a business owner. Ak feel sel idil hindi kaya employees na. Tangara tamili rabalu tangarige masuraw go. Which is from the get-go, ako sa karalalik, kayo gimaruni. Kada mo kasi pamatalay, singa they earn
I see.
ang mlamang ko ta sa gidali. Whether intentionally or not, hindi mlo ay say. Mapukuling itri na National Congress sa Maratar Olbi. Ma President. Akse member open sa gidali door. Meron kami Chamber of Commerce, kami business people. Kung matay di mo sa angel second caller mil sa dok mas second business. Kita tiagi del organization na Palo Chamber of Commerce sa Alir. Tiagi del delegate ng kagita president ma'am. Agi obay agol masay kita kadamo al bolgera del impose all the sweat kadamo. Hindi kalgera del dimo ngebol do response nga whoever. Egit the back down ito no le kado umrar sa igi del podol dasring. Kalau merak mesti kemama represent business organization, matabong mal response negative, hindi ako give up then. We have to work and work and work until tigal other senate tigal we voted for them.
I say.
Ngaring isel consensus na tulong ulit. Hindi like I said, tigal amol nga to swear out, I'll serve as a senator. A senator ang kanyang criteria sa ringi. Abay nga aleda kidel as a Chamber of Commerce, kidel community. magarang about the persuader tir. Al sugumingira dam sisi, sugumingira dam longo da asim rabekal tutaw. Let's do that.
Ako agrego sa mande obo. Enra mo murtilo se kut magara mege ludo el murang mangara mara business se ko e ke se bem convince tilo se
He wants to know what we will say.
how much money 11 million made kada magara ringi te la mora business te la mara se se em multa do suir malo vendia se trato ko
Akmo sa igil tilil gila la NDBP. Mga 6 million dolar NDBP, marolgi sa akong bali, kumuha 5 million ng marosil nila na. Akmo ko tir ay makal sukum gila kalmo tong okram dari de petkul hearing tir, I'll do that. La decision ang arti. All I can do is timestri raul das ko sa tiagi daul das wegal kalelungil wat tiagi. Etira ultimately to make a choice. Erulia la according to what they think or what they see is fit for the republic. Letiga direct kulmurangar alir. Ta direct lomes at Beleu masay leadership ka mama otokliti al Beleu or tira del yobo. Oren hindi ka other mutul mura putu albuay el ngarinya ul daswela malrabel. Tadi mo omdas altang mo kakaraw sa uldaso. Asel mo montara dalongolet sel mo dia ka kaiget saya amon din. Malu hindi ka accept ul daswela tara. Alu hindi ka the shave ringil mo chisel ringil mol morsetel eto dokta kay giluldas rogo dele imoluldas madi mo ontigil mortira say mem open asmriu em open ading mi e bo the oil sa edel adadura ngidil ngaral gilel awdol distribution awdol mora other belaw hindi say gid amo distribution according to me aul daswega 6 million mora NDBP lo lagi sa kumbali 5 million muro sirara
nyo ako mesar ka malungil mga dudu ungil masaka hindi ka mal matingel wasya tial kongres ang ari atletar bro elang made la 62 hours en moria hearing ra Monday ang sabi ka ma Irene mingil alwas giril mokl mo so il gut mokla babier el luuk babiel was 1 2 3 tiagida moktek tiagida so ma omrelitiam amenda tial bil mo magarang ebrego kemul tedem si mo bomklik mokl mo dong okle summarize al sel aimul bon trul bon lo se kaul senator ngak tiagida uldas em kan pinsetir akum das tilagida ekmama kumes mi kom ngerelat akumes tigil ngase ti tokorti wa moklungek Narian ngas ko moklungi makum na sigida alama time o ikemul ko ngil wase kada mungudre kid kada mot maga adu aklamral to wase kami business leaders at chamber of commerce kami leaders kami ko ngara urur tra business ngari urur ta government itirgal mo mesti urur ta government misal labo itirga msisi kami itirga mrulalla ngiri la sum ko mo lingi tram sisi el other gidi lo se relate al merga ay gidi del mok e presenter gidi agul goria se bom mo lo babier el al 62 hours em kat maklia ungil babier bom sa la erunge del la babier mo sel obo bom okul mo sitia gidi akum das oy tel al adu ngaringia na mo gidi lo ise al sugum so da kut maklitel lo al time has come lo se ndia gired el smada ay garabual watiang gired mar adra blum gilo to da suir e gired mo bangar tikal man ngataklete wase bring la da taklangal ngarngi let's do this
mula moringi babier kama mengin mga mula moringi edi ko ay so sa Samuel Scott tangira sama vice president ra Palau Chamber of Commerce kama maltedel ngartiang board of directors ra Palau Chamber of Commerce at yakati kiti mom teera kukti ikamam business community Beleu rogir maroko il adal entrepreneurs are dir ko ngaraw do swir material guk yakati bekla sorry mura government maldong okl 825 bato kar adal way kamam adal reor magimal kamamang artiang represent rogul other Beleu so Ngirmang suggested that for the hearing we go prepared with something in writing of exactly what we suggestions because they are powerful in terms of making the law putting things into writing, into law, but we can definitely help, like what Junior mentioned with the distribution of 6 million to NDVP, 5 million to be used by the business community, is all good, but he recommends we put it in writing. So. And we will do that. We sent them a letter, but we will do that also. We'll come prepared on Monday at 10 o'clock.
bolsa pa may ada business por or ay tamay sila se ngra ul mo moldo por tiang le akomda se tira ngira de kumuigang.
They need our help too. As a lot of them are business people also
I see.
in the Senate. They own businesses too. So.
Madalway se oy man masaule kidam lamo talsika nga ma aloy may email bungol da du tiang amring to girel spend that time as modi. In fact, agiret tia klol to gedem saudrangi ay gel bekte al da borngi rabuai ma agedem saudrangi mar adrabli ma arangalegeda ma igang emergoy akmalo lengitel wasay the begi sar adrablu el morsel hearing ramandera 2 o'clock. Lagadi mola sa time ra kamaldi ma se pamara ka fishap mai gang begi sel mor mul de swil mortigal at. Leng mal beto kaya la Facebook ma radio ma TV mai gang ya ku mesre gida ada velang direct tiga ada tu dia se ketika kaya la toy e dia se mot maglo lo siga rail mo kutut maklia toy leng ku mesre tiang tia ya last chance gida ku mo gutmok willa el mergid el mosabilida la gagid el mring el nado saudre lang makmal lo tbdi tia logodong el mor adra lo rengas mar adra blur belau lo asi begisel mo omngal ka school mendiungil om adra taxi om adra omnget bago plam rital di dong okraigal tokle diangan baikal ka fisya pro oror ada dura dolong liru ela komitel dura 2-3 hours a day e bolsibira mandei mo e motor daiga de tianga mal gired lo tergakli e gired gut makli alla amadra sunday ele selbo de durtir el otro día en girel tal sil en girel passing era senetem la passing a first reading next thing girel second reading but third reading e mora house asum mande al mut tal sunday gerul sunday ya sepel el pasa kal tablo blai endim lam gim dalla Because by the time bora at the president ang sepelo luti malung saingi dikat adadu al angar erul Sunday al sugum ni al isik sitra ikan buku pol kawader ngi rasene te ma aklaros tirma a house malutira president ikat agu komentil amoto o talbu ngerul buil di tianga emergency tia crisis gelo semakli kabom masmri kamngol kungem mo atra chamber bo masmri tia la
Kamal masawling mga kidire kalmal marenga sulela Moses Uludong aling kadire kal mitian ding dire kal business men mangka understand der kamal adra business adra siobay magi marenga sule mertial teal marenga sulir adra belao lula rengser el altu tower ngaray krel ma alsel o ngirmang ka masulal mga lerar at magi open game mga lerar at lo se tiriger rokuil sab irel mera public hearing rangara amayong cultural center Monday 10 o'clock. Tial hearing al polongra arngyar atra Senate, ngel chairman ersel committee ti longra artial Cross Extension Act public hearing as Senator Cecilil Eldebel atang SR direkal mal somam arbekla atal bol ramadarir lobang kamam potungil at atu waisel lolkoringa junior masam Maral el al time el mal the temela COVID mantia ka turist el dia ka ngaranging ngungil bol tarungut et at adu le ngirmangal adongil ra turist el open engire la shobile preparation maging malolingi tange solwase el al time en sab amar adra shobile sukumange so amorngi lobang loyak tel Cross Extension Act eng mo te lirar atra ikal tourism related industries sa restaurant the hotels mar tour operators el momo el prepare el mga tmok like al shobile tir e katakaw shobile ra al sela bolwath E direkal mormula mosiga solution sa technology, marula greenhouse, lomkoata fruit flies, mo sabiela aka rule el kay nga sew, magkaisar al sela pulwata ngirmang, akuk mo on mu tal magisa, masela open a sterile corridor, a Republic of Palau already. Makomal masaw, le direk lagi diyo ay wase besides sa public hearing, aling moringi sel pandemic safety training, moringi rarokoy siobal 300 some. Mang akureng sang mla mamarek sel sil loya kala al safe for you. Melanda kal sa paamar atras siobal kukauriol train or adadal mo COVID safe, ela ka anges wel guk ngo sutrira ar siobal mo sabil mga tmokla masela open abelaw eta safe and ready makomal masaw larbek laat egi ureng klangat tangatra rubakal Dios al mergi rokoy makuk next week ra Friday raw Udesuall.